Hey everyone, I am Elizabeth Sherman from Total Health by Elizabeth, and today I am going to talk about ab exercises after my dogs start barking. But anyway, so let me start about telling you this story. So I specifically remember the time when I realized that doing ab exercises were not going to whittle my waist, that doing abs exercises were not going to do anything for making my waist smaller and making me smaller. I used to work in the computer field, and there was one job that I was doing where we were traveling for 4 weeks at a time, or maybe it was longer than that. Anyway, I was in St. Louis, Missouri, and so I got a gym membership for the time that I was there, and I remember working out in this gym, and there was this one exercise that was really tough. It was a piece of equipment where both the head of the machine and the legs of the machine came together, and I just remember it was so difficult for me. And so anyway, this woman came along. She was a member there, and she just got on there and she banged out, I don't know, like 15 or 20 of these repetitions. And what was amazing about that was that she had no problem doing it, and at the same time she was really kind of thick. And that was the moment when I realized that doing ab exercises was really just about strength, and that there was a completely different way of looking at exercise that would make you smaller. So it was that, kind of realization that you could be strong, but that didn't necessarily mean that you would be lean. And so from that point forward, I actually, I changed the way that I worked out. So today I'm giving you an insight into the way that I work myself out. I generally don't do direct ab work on my own. And so what that means is I generally don't do crunches. I'll do some core work, like some planks and things like that, but that's really ancillary. Most of the exercises that I do on my own are full body exercises that you really need a ton of core strength. Because when you look at, and I'm not saying that core strength isn't important, because when you look at the skeleton, you have your rib cage and then you have your hips. And the only thing to support your spine is actually your core. So the core muscles are actually very, very important because they keep you upright and they make sure that your spine isn't going to, break in half. Not that it would, but you get my point. So I do very few direct ab exercises because they don't really do anything except for bend your upper body to your lower body. That's all crunches do. So I prefer to do things where I have to engage my ab exercise or my abs when I'm doing like lunges or squats or anything that's free weight where I really need to engage my core. So that's how I personally work my core out. So the other thing is that your ab muscles actually make up a very small part of your whole musculature. And so by training your ab muscles, you could be training other major muscle groups like your chest, your back, and your legs during that same time and getting more muscle power for the time that you're putting in strength training. So that's what I do. I focus on my major muscle groups. I do exercises that engage my core, that make sure that I'm, upright and supporting myself. However, I don't actually do direct ab work. And so, yeah, the more muscle that you have, the more metabolically active that muscle is. And so what happens is we think that we need to do ab exercises in order to get a smaller waist. And the truth is that you want to work your other muscle groups, your chest, your back, and your legs, because those muscles have more size, and so therefore they also have more muscle ability to them. They have more calorie burning power with them as well. So therefore, training your chest, your back, and your legs is actually what's going to make your waist smaller. Now, where we gain and lose fat is highly genetic, okay? So you can't actually determine where you are going to lose body fat. That's actually determined by your parents, unfortunately. So when we lose fat, what happens is, think about your fat cells as these little balloons. And when you lose fat, so when you have a calorie deficit in your body, what happens is those fat cells get a little bit smaller. Now, you might want to think about what happens in your body is you have these kind of sheaths that determine where you're going to lose fat. So what's going to happen is you may find that your fat cells will, get released at a certain point. So let's say you're going from, let's say 150 pounds to 145. You might find that most of that fat is coming from your hips and your thighs. And then when you go from 145 to 40, you may find that some of that comes from your chest or your back, or your face. So what you'll find is that there are different areas that your body is going to decide that it's going to lose fat from, as well as gain fat at those certain points as well. What most women find is that when they start to lose weight, that weight comes from their chests, unfortunately, and that's just something that happens. So we can't really tell our bodies where we want to lose body fat from. Again, that's highly genetic. And you may find that as you're losing weight, that area where you've lost weight, so let's say that you've lost it in your waist, that you may find that after you lose that weight in your waist, that it looks actually really bad. And that's just because your skin is still a little elastic, and so it just needs to firm up a little bit before it'll start to look good again. So yeah, these are just the things that happen when we are losing fat. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news on that one. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you about? Yeah, that's about it. So I promised that there was one exercise that may actually whittle your waist. And what that's called is a stomach vacuum. Now, I typically do not do this exercise in my workouts. I'll do them in everyday life because you don't necessarily need a gym to do them. You can do them standing or you can do them sitting. So where I find that I use them the most is actually when I'm at a stoplight. And so I'll do these stomach vacuums when the light turns red and I'm just sitting there, and I try to hold on to it as long as I can. So generally what you're going to do is you're going to contract for about 30 seconds and then release, get back to recover, and then contract again. So here's the trick to what stomach vacuums are about. What you're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate in just a second, what you're going to do is you're going to sit up straight or stand up straight, and you're going to breathe. Okay, so breathing is important. You're not holding your breath in this exercise. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull your belly button towards your spine. And again, breathe, and then do it as long as you can. And then, so 30 seconds is a really great thing to aim for. And then release and recover, and then pull back into your spine. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's see here. All right, so here I am. Make sure I won't fall off this edge of this. Okay, so what you're doing is you're just gonna pull your belly button into your spine, okay? And again, you wanna make sure that you're breathing. I'm breathing, I'm talking, okay? But I'm engaging my core. So I'm pulling my belly button into my core. And the reason that this actually works is because when you are doing these stomach vacuums, you're training your abdominal muscles to pull in, because that's what we want. We want our muscles to be pulled in so that we look slim, and then release. So if you're doing ab exercises, and this is the other thing about ab exercises that never really kind of made sense to me. Whenever you're doing weighted ab exercises, whenever you put weight against a muscle, resistance, that muscle is going to grow. We generally don't want big freaking stomach muscles because they look a little bulky. So what happens is you don't want to have a lot of weight against those ab muscles, otherwise they're going to grow. We don't want if you're looking for physique related goals, you don't want your ab muscles to grow, you want them to be pulled in. So again, you're just going to pull your belly button towards your spine, you're breathing, I'm not holding my breath right now, okay? I'm just pulling my belly button towards my spine, and I'm just holding it for as long as I can, okay? And so you should feel your abs contracting, okay? So you should feel those. And make sure you're standing up straight, again, pulling your belly button towards your spine, but you're breathing, okay? So those are called stomach vacuums. And that's the one exercise that actually will help pull your abs into your body so that you're not protruding out, because we don't really like how that looks. So that's all I have for you today. You all have an amazing day, and I will see you later.